Just mic'd up with Mikie Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got J. Mitch. We got Jackie Boyd.
He tried to jump up and he might have knocked it in.
Good timing. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys will come in and say,
oh, God. So me and Joe on the ground, I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there, he's punching me in the stomach, like, punching me.
Here, is everyone sitting around? Who here thinks Chico can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad's doing the team 6 minutes. For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Chico can practice today. And I was like, I look back, I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw you there. You're more fucked up than me.
On the spirit plane had some issues, I think. She was sleep farting.
you heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her. I smelled it.
Whoa. What was that?
Time for the show.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you gonna bring your chinchilla and your turtle? My dad tell you about it.
The SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like they should.
Players, look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now.
Hello. Welcome back to Mic'd Up. Today is Friday, October 20th. It is a beautiful day here in Perkins Row. We are in Cards and Culture like we always are, our new home. It is open for business. If you're strolling around Cards and Culture, strolling around Perkins Row on this beautiful day, come on in, walk in.
Get an autograph. First 5 people get a free autograph from Mikey.
From you.
Jared Mitchell and Anthony
From
Renata.
Lloyd, because Lloyd's closest to the
From
door.
you.
So
Lloyd's
we'll
the closest. Lloyd will let you in. We'll welcome you. He's the doorman / producer / hype man / autographer.
Autographer? Yes.
He's going to autograph some stuff for you if you want it.
Free Heineken Silver.
Lloyd has been getting a lot of attention lately on the street. We saw somebody this past week on the football game that she almost cried. She saw Lloyd. She was very shocked that she saw
I didn't think I was real. It's like, oh, you're this ugly in person, too.
It was great. Lloyd's getting a lot of attention. So if you like to come out and hang out with us, great. If not, and you just want to listen to us or watch us, that's better, too. We have a great show today. Obviously, we're a sports show. It's not Freaky Friday anymore. It's not Freaky Friday anymore. It's not Friday the 13th. But it is Loosey Goosey Friday. It is Free Flowing Friday.
Yes.
And we're just going to hang out. We're going to talk sports. We're going to talk about what we saw last night. The Saints absolutely are abysmal. They stink.
It's fun.
They don't look good. They gave you a little hope towards the end of the game, and then all of a sudden it gets ripped out right from you. A lot of things don't look very smooth. It's not running smoothly. Looks a little clunky. Then all of a sudden you have a stretch of about half a quarter where you're like, damn, this team's really moving the ball, doing really well. And you have a chance to tie the game, and you have some miscues at the end, and you do not, and you go from potentially going 4-3 to now going 3-4, which our good friend Fletcher Mackel, who came on our show on Wednesday, not yesterday, 2 days ago, gave us a stat. Of the teams since the merger, which is 1971, I believe, of teams that have started 3-3, going into their 7th game, teams that have won that 7th game to make their record go to 4-3 have a 50% chance of making the playoffs. Teams that have lost that game and gone 3-4 have an 18% chance of making the playoffs. So this game was a very important game for New Orleans. They're at home. They lose to the Jaguars, and now they are 3-4, so their percentage goes down to 18%. Not saying that it's impossible. There's still a slight chance, but the way they are playing and the way that what they have shown you through the first 7 games of the season is not promising. Doesn't look great. Looks very out of sorts, and I think it's all going. I know it's all going to fall on Lloyd's favorite coach in the NFL.
I mean, he doesn't know it's going to happen. He doesn't know anything.
I think he knows, right?
I think he's just having a good time. Best seat in the house.
He's gone.
I don't know. I think when he looks in the mirror, it's not very comfortable at this point right now.
He's got to be gone. You made a great point. We're going to get to that. Actually, let's get to it now.
Might as well.
You made a great point before the show. You look at all these other high-powered offenses that have had offensive coordinators with them, whether they're calling the plays or not, they're part of that offense. You have Jim Nagy. You have
Bieniemy.
Bieniemy. You have
McConnell. Under
you have
Mitch.
McVay was under. Well, you have no, not Mitch.
No,
definitely not Mitch.
I was going to say
You
Pete
have
can do it.
McConnell, and you have the guy that is now the offensive coordinator.
Eric Bieniemy.
In the Jets.
Oh, Goldmember.
God, I'm forgetting his name
Anyway,
too.
Sean Payton's favorite player.
Broncos guy.
Yeah, he was in Denver. Obviously, wasn't great as a head coach, but he had an opportunity as a head coach. Now he's back as the offensive coordinator. I think he's doing a pretty good job, especially with his start, being hurt. Your point was what?
My point was we knew who those guys were, even when they were under offensive geniuses as head coaches, and we knew that the head coach was the play caller, and those guys still got head coaching opportunities and went on. Whether it was good or not, you knew who they were, and they got head coaching opportunities and or have moved on like Bieniemy to another spot where somehow he's got Sam Howell looking like a competent quarterback and a team that everybody thought in Washington was for dead, seemingly playing competitive football, right? Winning record. So my point is that situation, right? For 15 years, we didn't know Pete Carmichael's name.
Right.
We didn't know what he knew, nothing, anything about him. Right?
Didn't really know his role.
Didn't
You're
really
on the
know his
team. You're
role.
offensive coordinator, but not really.
Not really. And so now I'll put that point into the next point, which was I get what it looked like. It didn't look great, but I do remember just this time last year that a quarterback who's been in the past a NFL MVP candidate, last year he played for the first time in I think 11 years maybe with his college #1 receiver, right? When they played in college together, there was a different system, a different time, a different league, different all kind of everything going on. Fast forward, I think 11 years, they play again together, and this receiver who had been pretty much the #1 receiver in everything in the world still went for 100 catches last year, still went for 1,400 yards last year. I don't think the Saints have anyone anywhere near that route of playing well. You have a healthy Michael Thomas, healthy enough, right, to be able to contribute. You got Chris Olave, who I've seen just you saw what he was last year. He was literally the best thing as a rookie behind Garrett Wilson, right? It doesn't look good. And so for me is all right, well, Carr's good enough. How good? I don't know. I don't know what the ceiling of it is. It's good enough. The one constant seemingly that's been around this thing that just hasn't been good, that hasn't really done it, seems to be Carmichael.
Right. And that was your point, was hey, all these other guys had an opportunity to go out and show that they are very good offensive coordinators, are very good offensive minds, and that they had the trust and they had the ability to allow these professional football players, these grown men, to buy into what they're trying to see, to buy into their scheme, buy into their system, buy into their personality, whatever it may be. They had the ability to do that, or at least these teams believed that they had the ability to do that. It does not seem that Pete Carmichael has that same feeling around the league with other coaches, because if he had, you would imagine he would have gone somewhere else, right, to have an opportunity to be an offensive coordinator, because he had a lot of success, or the Saints have had a lot of success offensively under Sean Payton. That didn't happen. Then you're like, well, maybe he's just going to follow Sean to Denver. That didn't happen, right? Then they say, okay, well, this is your opportunity to be an offensive coordinator. Hey, listen, you had a guy who wasn't even like much involved in the offensive scheming and play calling and any of that, and he got an offensive coordinator job before Pete Carmichael did, and that's Joe Brady at LSU. Right? Joe Brady was a guy that wasn't at the level of Pete Carmichael as far as, title or status, but he gets a job in college and he gets an NFL offensive coordinator job. Doesn't work out, right? But at least he had the opportunity. Pete Carmichael, and he may have turned him down. But what we're seeing right now on the field, it doesn't seem like he turned him down, because it doesn't seem like anybody really wants him. And now it doesn't seem like the Saints are going to have to be able to hang on to him for much longer, because if they do, you're getting boo birds coming out in New Orleans. They see the frustration. You have all this talent around your quarterback, and you have a quarterback who's experienced and been around, right? He can be a top 15 quarterback in the league. Doesn't have to be a top 10, top 5. You can win with that, especially with the defense that you have. And now you're not, and you're losing games in a very ugly fashion.
And I'll make my last point about him too, is that I watch, for betting purposes, I watch a lot of football on Sundays. I've seen Derek Carr play a lot. I've seen a lot of highlights. I've seen a lot of notable moments. I don't really ever remember seeing him wearing out the offensive coordinator as much as I'm seeing him wear out the offensive coordinator right now. And it's been 2 weeks in a row to where it's been very, very, very notable on the sideline during the game, where everyone can see it. That's not a good sign. And that, for me, that kind of feels like, all right, maybe, everything ain't perfect, but it's hard for me to believe that the guy that they just brought over from somewhere else, who I got to kind of feel like Derek Carr probably in his mind is like, hey, look, my older brother was supposed to be the dude, right? And because of the incompetence on the offensive side, he got sacked the most ever. He didn't turn out to be anywhere near.
It was a expansion team.
Anywhere near the dude, right? And you got to feel like somebody like Derek Carr, drafted high, franchise quarterback, moves on after, 7 or 8 years of where he was. And you got to feel like right now he's staring backup quarterback right in the eyes.
No doubt.
Maybe not happening next year, but he's like, I'm on this $50 million job right now. If I don't get it done this year, maybe even next year, I'm staring at holding a clipboard if I'm going to stay in this league. I'm not about to let it happen right now. And I feel like that frustration is coming out when it comes to the conversation between him and Pete, because that was the reason why he got out of Oakland, if you will, because it wasn't going well there and they weren't not winning. And he's like, I got to go find somewhere where I can win, or else I'm not going to have a job like this anymore.
Yeah.
So
look, it's not great, right? And I don't think it's getting much
What's their
better.
best offensive game of the year?
Right, I'm not even gonna try to put a positive spin on this. Right, one thing when Derek Carr came in, and I'm gonna say that we're gonna make this point, and then we're gonna move on. I know Bryce Koon is in the waiting room, waiting to have a nice conversation about LSU football. Let me finish this point, and we'll get to him. Whenever we signed Derek Carr, I thought, from watching him in Oakland, they had a lot of turmoil, they had a lot of transition, they had a lot of turnover. They always seemed like they were competitive. They may not have had a bunch of winning records, or they may not have won a lot of games they should have won, but within that turmoil, you saw the constant was Derek Carr, and he was able to right the ship, and he was able to get these guys to play well, and he's able to, win games and do these things throughout the course of the year. And they weren't elite, and they weren't as good as they probably could have been, but there was also a lot of things happening on the back end. I thought with that, him coming in, okay, it's a stable situation, it's going to be good, and it just feels like he's going right back into the same type of thing offensively. And so I thought he was going to help. I thought that was that experience, and it was going to help from him, and it just looks like there's just nobody's on the same page offensively. We're going to get back into that a little bit more. It is Friday. It is the eve of the LSU Army football game. here in Tiger Stadium. And then you get the much-needed bye week before the Alabama game, and then you finish the season with 3 straight home games here in Baton Rouge. The weather is beautiful. The field looks awesome. The camo end zones are fire.
A patch on the uniform.
We're excited to speak with our friend Bryce, who's going to have some insight from the from the locker room. Also sprinkle a little bit of some Braves conversation. Sorry, Bryce. But we're going to get everything, all the questions answered for the LSU Tigers. Bryce, welcome back to the show. I'm sorry about your tire.
I didn't like that.
I'm sorry about your tire. I wish you were able to come here.
But
here's the deal.
I had to take a bye week last week, though. I had to take a bye week last week because of the Braves. So I'm glad that.
Listen, I defended you with Lloyd. Lloyd said he's not going to show up because he's sad about the Braves. Like, no, he said it's his family. And so
the Braves are his family.
We did have family coming.
Yeah, see?
We did have
I
family.
knew that.
We did have family coming.
The Braves had a little bit to do with it, I think. That was tough.
Yeah, that was rough.
Where on the street did you lock yourself in your room? That's just what we heard. We don't know. That's what we heard.
I haven't left the apartment in a week. I didn't even go to the game last weekend. So it's no, I'm just kidding.
Listen to
it was rough. It was
I
rough.
quit my job.
I don't want to open up the wound. It feels like the Braves are just repeating the 1990s, right? They win that one World Series. They win their division all the time. They have all these really good teams, but then for some reason or another do not, win multiple World Series. And I hope I'm wrong because I do like the Braves. I think they're good. Unfortunately, I have a lot of friends on the Phillies, so I was rooting for the Phillies. I'm sorry. And so the Phillies look like
they're a fun team. The Phillies are a fun
here's
team
my
to
next
watch.
question as a fan of the NL East. The Braves lose. Are you rooting for the Phillies now, or you don't want anybody from that division to win the World Series?
I'm rooting for them because it's like it makes to me it makes us look like better. Like at least we lost to the world champion. Like I can take solace in that. Like last year when they made their run, I was like, you know what, I didn't feel as bad because they were just on fire. And obviously what they're doing, this postseason is just ridiculous. So you kind of just you take. And if this was like if the Marlins would have beat them and the Marlins would have won it, I'd have been like,
Right. No, I get it.
Whatever.
You don't feel like
but
you
the
have a
Phillies,
shot. Yeah.
I can respect it.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's a very mature answer from a diehard Braves fan. Speaking of playing better, getting better, progressing, LSU looks like they have started to do that, especially defensively. Last week, second half of Missouri, we talked about the Missouri game with you. The second half of the Missouri game looked a lot better defensively. They move into this Auburn game. Obviously, it's a different type of offense, but the defense looked a lot better. They looked a lot more fundamentally sound. They looked like they understood where they were supposed to be going. They tackled better. Now, the passing game wasn't as on the Auburn side wasn't as complicated as they've seen in the past, obviously, in the last couple weeks. But at the end of the day, one of the biggest issues was being in the right spot, making the tackles, and playing physical football. It felt like they did that. Did you see that? And what has been the conversation within the clubhouse, within the locker room throughout the course of the week to try to build on that?
Yeah, I mean, you're obviously right in the fact that Auburn didn't pose a really strong passing attack. But I think the LSU's defense just needed to build some confidence against an SEC-level opponent. We saw them do it against Mississippi State early in the year, but really after that Ole Miss performance that was, as we know, historically bad, I think that just to be able to go out, feed off the home crowd was huge. And talking with a couple of the players this week, what they felt has been the biggest difference, Brian Kelly has felt has been the biggest difference, is really the marriage of saying, okay, we're going to play really fast and really physical, but we're also going to play discipline. I think we've seen this team at times do a little bit of both. Like they have played, love it, a grieving Bryce Koon. I mean, we just kill it. We just kill it every single week in this. No, but I think in all seriousness here, you see what this defense has been able to do. Okay, so they play aggressive, but they might play undisciplined. What does that lead to? It leads to a lot of missed tackles, a lot of missed opportunities. Then they play disciplined, but they play a little too reactive. They play passive. So then it allows, big plays, and while they might be in the right spots, it's just too late. It's a timing thing. So I think the Auburn game provided them an opportunity to bring both of those concepts together. It's something that Paris Shand, who had a great game last Saturday night, talked to the media this week about it. And he said, look, I mean, Pete Jenkins has paid off, like the dividends that he has, the way he's paid off for us has been massive. He said, I don't know, he goes, I don't know what it is about that guy, but man, he loves the game of football, and you wouldn't know that he's 82 years old. Like, he made that joke. He said, this guy loves the game of football. He's energetic, and he really opened our eyes to a lot of the things of saying, hey, we're talented. We're just not playing up to the standard. That's on the front side. And then, the back end, kind of going back to the Auburn game, I thought Zy Alexander looked better. I think Zy Alexander is becoming a guy that they feel a little bit more comfortable with. I don't think they love necessarily having Sage Ryan at the corner position, but what I do say in that
I'm
is
glad
I
you
think
finished.
that
I thought
he
you were
is
going to
the-
say they don't love having Sage Ryan, but they don't love having Sage Ryan in the
Yeah,
cornerback
see,
position.
I don't think if we're just creating a team on NCAA or something, I don't think Sage Ryan would be cornerback number 2 or number 1. I think that it's a product of what that room has looked like. So overall, I think the defensive group, if they can continue to build on saying we're going to play really, really aggressive, but we're also going to stay disciplined and play assignment sound, which sounds like, obviously, guys, it sounds so simple, but they haven't been able to do it consistently. So if they can do that this week against a team that you have to stay disciplined against or you're going to get hurt, that would be huge heading into the bye week and obviously then getting ready for that big matchup in Tuscaloosa.
You being there with some insider insight on this thing.
Insider insight.
Yeah, you like that right there?
Yeah.
Big J journalism.
So, when you watch a team give up 700 plus yards, right, and then we bring in a former coach 3 times removed, I believe.
6 times removed.
6 times
This
removed.
is a 6th stint.
Oh my God, that's a lot.
I know.
6 times removed from the job. Outside of enthusiasm and hand placement, what exactly has Pete Jenkins brought to this?
Yeah, what has he cleaned up?
What has he cleaned up?
Yeah, so obviously you mentioned hand placement. That's been something that everyone's talked about. The biggest thing that I think, and Paris Shan went in on this a little bit, Mikkie Mahtook did, is, sometimes you just got to have a guy that kind of lights the fire. I think Pete Jenkins obviously is that old school approach of kind of I think there was a come to Jesus moment with this defensive line, because it's no secret that the talent is not there in the back end to be a great secondary. So it's going to be up to this front 7 to be able to dictate things they want to do. And they weren't producing. I think that we've seen, for lack of better words, a more pissed off defensive line. And whether that was, a challenge, I know that, Paris Shan said essentially in so many words, he was talking about the fact that, look, this, we sat in film room and we were going through, like the little laser, and he had that, and he is just circling, hey, this is poor effort. This is, this is not a Sunday type of play from a guy who's a Sunday type of player. I'm going to allow myself to think that's either a guy like Mikkie Mahtook or Mason Smith on that front 7, those Sunday type of players. I think really it's never been, yes, the hand placement, yes, being violent, yes, but I think it's more of the mentality. I think that's what he has come in and he's been able to do and sit here and go, you know what, these guys are, they're really talented, but man, whether it is, just for lack of better words, being lazy, whether it's just, not really engaged. I think Pete Jenkins has unlocked the mental side of things of saying, hey, you just need to go get after it. And you need to stop essentially, playing like you're scared. And, you're the bigger group. This group's really deep. We can afford for you to go 110% and rotate guys in. So let's go out there and do that. So I know that's kind of like it's maybe not the best answer, but I think that it's more of the mental side of things, being able to unlock the aggressiveness. And essentially maybe it was a come to Jesus moment of these guys just saying, look, you need to play better because this is not acceptable. And the success of this team is going to depend on you, because we know what the offense is going to do. If you can just get by and, get this defense by, first off, it's going to be up to you. Man, we can do some special things.
Man, so you enter Pete Jenkins into the situation. You talk about a come to Jesus moment. Are we finally getting to see a healthy Omar Speights, or do you think the come to Jesus situation that kind of Pete has brought to this team has kind of lit a different fire in him to just go ahead and fight through whatever the situations that he's got dealing with, and just say, hey, I need to find a way to put that aside and play my best ball now?
Well, I would say that about Omar, and also the two that you've got a true freshman that, look, it's a cool story, but at the end of the day, these guys are battling for jobs.
Yeah.
And Weeks has done everything and more for a lot of people, and I would say majority of the fan base, to say Speights shouldn't see the field unless he's spelling the other two guys. I think that's a fair assessment, of what Weeks has been able to do. Now, he's still, growing and learning. We talked to Spates on Tuesday night, and it's always interesting when you ask a player, especially a veteran player, about a younger guy, that they're mentoring, because it's kind of that relationship of like, you go, especially, I know you guys were talking about the NFL early on, the veteran NFL quarterback that has to mentor the young rookie or something like that, where you're going to speak positively, but these guys are competitors. And so I think part of it is a Pete Jenkins, saying, look, you have to play better. We've got to fight through some of these things, whether it's a nagging injury or whatever this might be. But I think also, too, as a part of, we need to credit Whit Weeks with his on-the-field performance. But if it also results in us having an elevated Omar Spates, that's awesome. Like, that's a kid that's not only pushing on the field, but off the field as well. And that's what you want in a program when you bring in these highly rated recruits, is if they're not going to play, well, by God, it better be the fact that guy's playing better than him.
Sounds like,
if that's what they're doing, I'm cool with that.
Sounds like what's going on in the quarterback room for the last year and a half, right? Like that's kind of what we felt like has happened in the quarterback room for this year and a half.
Yeah, and then once Jaden's gone next year, after he wins the Heisman and does his thing, goes to the NFL, I believe Nussmeier is going to be a lot better suited to take those reins and be an All-American type quarterback next year because of that, elevating the guys behind you and seeing what they're doing and making sure that you're always continuing to push forward. And you mentioned the linebackers, right? Like you mentioned Spates being in there, obviously Greg Penn, Whit Weeks, Harold Perkins, all these guys. But now you have a linebacker position where you're starting to have 4 or 5 guys now play really well. So now you go from a linebacker position that was kind of a question mark to now you have some depth. You have guys who are going out there and they've got some really good film and really good experience out there that I think that's only going to make the defense get better and better and better. And the secondary is what it is. Look, if they're going to play more zone, great. I think the front 7 being better and doing those types of things and moving the quarterbacks off the spot, that helps the secondary as well, which in turn allows the defense just to be average. That's all you need them to do, is just be average, because the offense is so dominant and so explosive that they can score with anybody. So, to y'all's point, I think that is exactly what you're trying to see, and it's good to see that. It's good to see people kind of put, whoa, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we got a little music in the background.
Baby making
All right.
LSU gets to play Army. Is that baby making music though? I don't
know what was going on.
I don't think that's.
people that listen to music while they do that.
I don't know.
Look,
I don't know what kind of baby. Never mind.
It's Panther.
We have LSU's playing at home. They play Army. I think it's the first time since 1931 that Army is coming to Baton Rouge.
I think so, yeah.
And they won.
Yeah, well, that's a whole different type of football.
LSU owes them one.
Obviously, the talent is not equal on both sides, right? Army runs this, the triple option. It's kind of the modern day triple option where it's not as under center or doing these types of things. It's just same type of concepts, just looks a little different. So they're going to force LSU's defense to stay in their lanes and understand their roles. But at the same time, LSU's got to go out there and do the things that they need to do. What is being talked about? What is being preached to these guys going into this game? Because obviously everybody knows kind of what's going on around the country. Around the world, right? And they understand, being patriotic and understanding, hey, the armed forces, and that's a very important thing. And there's going to be a nice showing of that this weekend. How is Brian Kelly and the staff talking to these guys and allowing them to say, hey, listen, you got to respect these guys. This is what you got to do. But also at the same time, you got to go out there and you got to do your job and you got to win this game.
Yeah, Will Campbell had the perfect answer for this in his media availability this week. He said, look, obviously these guys, first, their Monday through Friday is harder than anything they're going to go through on Saturday. So I think that's first and foremost, you understand what these guys go through. Football practice for them or football games, that's like a reward for what they go through, in their day-to-day. And then obviously after the fact, once these guys get done with school, they're going to be doing things far more important than anything that happens on that field on Saturday. So that's understood. But Will Campbell mentioned this. He said, look, these guys, they want to come and win this game. They are not, yes, everyone's going to enjoy, they might do a flyover, whatever they might do. We all talked about, obviously, the end zones as well, all these different things that is going to be really, really cool to be a part of. But these guys, they're there to win a football game. They're there to do a job as well and challenge us. He said, so once those lights come on, I mean, yeah, you're going to have a respect like you would for any opponent. But, when those lights come on, it's time to play ball. And it's time to compete. And it's time to get after each other. So I would say this. I've been fielding a lot of questions about that, too, over on our message board. I mean, look.
How's the message board? How is the message board going? How's it over there?
That's got to be more positive, huh?
It's more positive. I got a lot of grief for saying that the Braves were going to beat up on Aaron Nola, but other than that, they've been.
Yeah, you got to know your audience here.
Oh, that's why you haven't left the apartment. Okay, I see what's
that's
going
why
on.
I haven't left. Yeah. So but in all seriousness, the message board's been great. More positive in that sense, and a lot of fans are excited for this. LSU already has great pageantry. Like when you talk about traditions, when you talk about atmosphere, I'm only 3 or 4 games into this, and I can already tell you it's one of the best atmospheres I've ever been, if not the best.
You haven't even seen it yet,
all of
really.
That being said, yeah, and I will say the Auburn game.
Yeah, it was good.
That was great. That was really good. I wish I could see an Alabama home game, but we'll get that hopefully next year. But that being said, all these things considered, it's going to be really cool. Like, this is not your traditional non-conference matchup. I think fans are going to show out. There's speaking of our message board, we have a lot of, former military and former Army that is, reaching out saying, hey, who has tickets? We're trying to come down and, go to this game. So I think there's going to be, I think this probably has to be the opportunity to be the most well-attended non-conference game. Yep. Grambling was pretty well-attended in spurts. But over the course of a full 60 minutes, I think this one's going to be a fun one to watch. But, no, these guys are ready. I mean, like, I've been at a game that Army's been a part of, and I guess as an underdog, and it was last year. And I just think that, watching these guys, yes, there's the weight, qualifications that, the weight limit that they have to stay under and everything. But this is the most well-conditioned team you're going to face all year. It's the most mentally tough team that you're going to face all year. They're not going to get rattled by the size and the strength of what LSU is going to be able to bring out there. Well, could they be overmatched on paper? Sure. Like that, yeah, that's a fair assessment. Have they ever played anything like that LSU is going to be able to provide? Yeah, I think so. I think that these guys have played some big-time games. But I'll say this, too. The future soldiers of America, you would hope they wouldn't get too rattled,
Correct.
In a stadium with 100,000 people plus with what they've got to do after this. So I think it's going to be a great game, and I'm excited just to kind of take it all in.
You bring up a great point about them playing probably the most mentally and physically disciplined team that they'll probably face all year, no matter what, quote unquote, the talent may be on whatever side of the ball. But you have that Ole Miss game, you bring that into another win after that, and then you come into this game. Going into the bye week to the stretch run of the year, playing against a team like this and understanding exactly what the challenge is that's coming in, what do you think them taking care of business this weekend would set up for the rest of their season going forward?
Yeah, I mean, especially defensively, like we've talked about. I mean, if these guys can come in, Army struggled offensively. This is not the same Army team. I read a stat earlier in the week. They attempted 104 passes all season last year. Coming into this game, they've already attempted 96. So it's something that they have thrown the ball a little bit more. They're willing to throw the ball a little bit more. And you mentioned, obviously, the triple option. It's going to be, I would say, a light version of kind of what Auburn runs, of what Ole Miss will run it sometimes, obviously with lesser talent, and just not those dudes that those two teams have. So I think that if you can if you can walk out of Tiger Stadium on Saturday night and the offense does their job, everyone stays healthy offensively, and they put up their 40 or 50 points, whatever you want to see it at. If they do that, you feel good. If defensively you can leave, and I'll even put a stat on this, under, let's go like 6 or 7 explosive plays. What quantifies that, I think PFF has it as 15-plus yards. You got to feel good because this offense that they're going to run is hard to defend when it clicks. If it clicks, that's when they start to get explosive plays. If defensively you can walk out of that and, that missed tackle rate's really down, you're able to create a ton of negative plays, to me that starts to build. And I don't want to get too much into it because that week we're really going to talk about it here, as they get ready to go to Tuscaloosa. But I think it creates an opportunity for this team to get into a much-needed bye week, get some guys healthy, and turn around and say, okay, we're not going to scoreboard watch necessarily, but we know that Ole Miss still has a date to Athens. They've still got to go there. And, LSU fans are going to be the biggest Georgia fans in the world, that day. Because if that happens, LSU controls their own destiny. And I do generally believe they could win out. I think that's something they could do. So they've got to be able to put back-to-back performances together where they play, like I said earlier, they marry those two concepts. Playing fast, Omar Spates even said this. The fact that they've simplified this defense, it allows guys to shut their brains off and play.
Right.
And it's not, and he said that, and I kind of wanted to, confirm this is what he was saying, because it's not saying that football players are dumb. It's not saying these guys can't put the things together. What it's letting you do is letting these guys with instincts like nobody else and what makes them special to be able to go make plays.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest thing. If this defense can walk out of there playing fast, playing free, and playing disciplined football, I think that you'd like to have a couple more wins in the win column, but you head into the bye week and think, okay, we're trending in the right direction as we get ready for, biggest matchup of the season.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I do think for the casual fan, I think coming into watching this game plays a little different than when you watch a team who you're supposed to come in and you're supposed to boat race on the scoreboard, right? In the sense of you want to see the defense kind of play the way they're supposed to, because if you're just measuring this game by if LSU can put up 40 or if they can put up 50 again, well, we've seen them do that in a number of games this year. So that's not really where the wonder is. The wonder is if Army plays this game the way they want to play this game and the way they can play this game when they're playing well, is they're staying on the field. They're reducing your possessions. They're putting up 20 to maybe 30 points, and now all of a sudden they're within 1 to 2 possessions of you, and it's somewhat of a close game. That's if it looks like that, that's the one you should be kind of worried about, not if LSU can go up and put up 40 or 50 in this game.
Yeah, you should be able to. I mean, this offense should be able to put up 40 or 50, and they've shown that against way better competition. Right. I agree with you there. I think, too, someone asked me, are you taking the spread? Look, if LSU wins by 28, it's still a good win. We're talking about a 31.5-point spread here. I believe that's what it was at last time I looked at it.
I think it's 32 now, but
32. So, that's a lot of points. Yep. That's a lot of points.
Especially to disrespect the troops.
I do agree with you. I do agree with you, though. Overall, I think that it's an Army team that we already have, these new clock rules that really kind of shorten the game a little bit, the actual game time. If they turn around, and what you would be worried about is if you have 10, 11, 12 play drives out of this offense, even if it doesn't result in points, that's something that maybe the casual fan won't be, but I'm going to be making mental notes of these drive charts, because if Army is able to stay on the field and have a decent third down success rate, that's something where I'm like, okay, that's not the performance that we needed to see from this defense for me to feel comfortable getting into Tuscaloosa and then come back home and playing a Florida team and all these different teams that will take more advantage of those opportunities than this Army team will.
Yep.
And when you look at, you hit on the offense a little bit. I think we talked a ton about the defense just because that's the test going in, where you see kind of a different looking offense. On LSU side, what do you expect to see in terms of performance? And I know you said maybe not call the dogs off, but where do you think that you see Jaden Daniels probably come out this football game? Do you think you get a whole, I don't think you'll get 4 quarters. Do you think he comes out at half? That's what I expect to see almost. And a little sidebar, are you surprised to see that Chris Hilton's going to play this weekend?
All right, so great you asked that. You said you might be on the message boards. I actually got a question about this in our weekly mailbag. It goes, will LSU's Heisman hopeful quarterback be running the ball in the fourth quarter up by 3+ scores again? I hope not.
Oh, God.
I don't think that, look, this was my exact answer. I said, while Daniels is definitely in the conversation, in my opinion, there has to be some type of common sense approach from this staff and, the overarching, program of saying, look, we can't sacrifice what is the highest individual honor in this sport for what this team could accomplish.
Right.
We can't do that. And I would even argue, I don't think Daniels is a guy that is going to push for that. He doesn't seem like that. He just wants to go play football. Like I don't think he really cares about a lot of the other stuff, and that's not speaking ill of him. He's been great with the media. I just don't think he really cares about all the drama that is around this sport that we love. So
that's for us to do.
I'll say that.
That's for us to create.
That's for us to do. That's why I should say that's why people pay us to do what we do. So I mean that's
fine.
Pay you. I'm cool with that. Yeah, well, you guys should get paid something too. So
Mikey's got tenure.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I think so. That's kind of where I sit with that, the Daniels conversation. So whether it is a halftime, I think it depends on the score. I mean, in a perfect world, I think we would all love to see 2 quarters of Jaden, 1 of Nuss, and maybe 1 of Ricky Collins. Just to get these guys to have some type of things to build off of. Malik Neighbors spoke to that with the young receivers. He said, look, this was me 3 years ago. He said, you have to have these games against, and he goes, it's not to disparage and talk down on the opponent, but if you're really as good as you think you are, you should be beating these teams to have yourself in a position to have these guys that, remember, these guys get 4 games before they lose that redshirt status. So this is one of the games where you want to see, a guy like Ricky Collins just take a snap, inside Tiger Stadium. I know he did that, against Grambling State, but take a snap and maybe throw a pass or 2. Get comfortable in a college atmosphere. Guys like Shelton Sampson.
That's what I was about to ask.
Green,
What about
Yeah.
those young receivers that we have? Because at the end of the day, right, our receivers this year have been really good. Top 2 guys have been really good.
Mm-hmm.
Kyron Lacey had a really good game last week. But they're going to leave. They're not going to be here next year. So now you're going to have a whole nother crop of receivers come out there and be able to
take over.
Yeah, pick up where they left off. And you really haven't seen a lot of these young guys really get a ton of opportunity. You're going to see some of these because the recruiting class last year, especially in the receivers, were really good, right? Like it was a deep receiver class. So like when are we going to be able to start seeing some of these guys, maybe get out there and be able to put up some numbers and show you what we can do leading into next year? And that's kind of going into your point.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys were asking these questions, man, because that was my next question on the mailbag. So
that was not me. I promise I wasn't in
there. Which was great. I think, the 2 guys I mentioned, Shelton Sampson, Kai Creed, Kyle Parker, another guy that's been really, really good. At the high school level was really, really, one of those guys in fall camp that has that wow factor and the different things that he can do. So, yeah, definitely the freshmen, because that's where a majority, I will say, of your top tier talent is. But this is also a game for 2 guys for me where I want to see what we can expect from you for next year. And it's Aaron Anderson, who was healthy against Auburn. Mm-hmm. This is a game where he can get some more touches, and it's a game where he can build confidence because, guys, he's essentially a true freshman. He missed all of last year at Alabama. So this is really his first full year playing. And then a guy that, has done nothing. He hasn't even really fielded punts other than the fact of just fair catching and catching the ball, which is a obvious improvement from last year. Gregory Clayton. Is Gregory Clayton going to figure into the wide receiver room at all going forward? So it's a game where guys like that who, look, we obviously talked about the hyped, freshman class that's coming in, this upcoming cycle, but last cycle as well. But how about some of those guys, the incumbent guys that are maybe in their first, second year, your second and third years that really haven't popped off just yet? So, I want to see what Aaron Anderson can do. And then just for the sake of this season, I know you mentioned where there's a guy who's, going to be exhausting that eligibility, I believe. Kyron Lacey. Was last week just a fluke, or can he continue to build upon, that, because it opens up so many things as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, it's going to be very fun. I'm excited about it. The weather has been unbelievable here in Louisiana. I don't want to jinx it, but it's been awesome. There's been no rain. It's been very crispy outside, no humidity. It's going to be like that again this weekend. So everybody should go out there, enjoy this. We'll support it, but enjoy the game, enjoy the weekend, enjoy playing against an opponent that you don't usually get to see. I think that's pretty unique. As we do every time we have you on the show. You talked about 32 points being a lot. Would you take the points?
So I actually took Army to cover.
Okay. There we go.
I did. I took Army to cover because I think that these guys are going to fight. I think I went final score like 38-10. I don't think that LSU. I don't think LSU is going to try to run the score up in the fourth. I think we're going to see a lot of running the football.
Noah Cain
I
season.
think Army can get a touchdown. Noah Cain season. Which look, I love Noah Cain.
Me too.
But man, that dude's just happy to be here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's having a good time and he's enjoying it. And that's something else. You talk about the running back room. All these guys. It's really a selfless running back room that I think has been a very underrated key outside of just the Logan Diggs aspect of these guys. Josh Williams had that massive block last week and then gets a touchdown. You love to see guys get rewarded like that. So altogether, I think I have Army covering. I think 38-10 was my final. Of course, there's plenty of other opportunities for LSU to run up the score on teams that deserve it more. I think that this one's going to play respectable. But I also think that Army is going to provide a challenge a little bit for LSU. You're going to have to be disciplined. This is not this is not an FCS school. It's not I would even say, it's not the fact that we were talking about the discipline of these guys, they outweigh a lot of the other non-con opponents that you're going to play in games down the road. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. And if I can, I'll speak to one more thing.
Absolutely. You can do whatever you want to do, Bryce. Whatever you want.
Good.
The floor is yours.
It was really good. You talked about the weather. Everyone knows this. Obviously, the top 2025 player in the country, Bryce Underwood, was on campus. And I got a chance to talk with some of the folks from, that he was with and his kind of trap, which is crazy.
Well, I'm glad you brought this conversation up because I'm going to ask some follow-ups after you finish what you got to say.
Go ahead. I don't know if you guys had traveling parties when you went on your recruiting trips.
No.
Bryce Underwood definitely did, and it was just wild. I guess that comes with being the number one player in the country. But I said, look, I believe it was one of the family friends that was there, and I said, let's just cut to the chase here. His high school, Belleville, is 20 minutes from the campus of Michigan. And we all know Michigan is kind of the other big fish that's in this race. Colorado being rumored, and they're going to be in a lot of guys, but it really does feel like a Michigan-LSU race, for Underwood. How do you beat that? A kid that's not from the South, he said, well, one, this weather, and I didn't have the heart to tell him that it's probably not going to be like that his entire 4 years that he's here, or 3.
Keep that a secret.
Great. Weather's fantastic, because it really was. It was you had to put on a jacket. It was really
365 days of sunshine.
There we go. Yeah, exactly. So, but he also said, look, it's not really going. The proximity thing is a thing that a lot of the media is using to kind of push that towards Michigan. While that's a factor, of course, that it makes sense that why that would be a factor. He's not taking it as seriously as some of the media is propping it up to be. So I think that's a very encouraging sign if you're an LSU fan. And look, you guys know this is my first full year of covering LSU, but as an SEC guy, I've always watched. That would be an example of getting that coveted top quarterback that seemingly always evades a recruiting class when it comes down to LSU. So I think if they can pull him. You're talking about a recruiting class for the ages, I think.
It's kind of crazy, too, because with NIL these days, let's be honest, the proximity thing with what these guys are kind of getting offered and what's being thrown around to them and the ability that they have to kind of get their families around and kind of be around, it's a lot different than what it was 10 years ago, you know? And so, the proximity thing is becoming less and less of a thing if you don't actually have a real affinity to whatever that proximity-related university is.
Yeah, and to that, real quick, you mentioned the proximity. It helps, and we can talk about this openly now, where so many years ago you couldn't, and that's what I like about it. We're talking about guys getting apartments, families getting houses. This is not something where and more. You're talking about if he were to come down here hypothetically. The family's going to have a house. He's going to have his own separate. He's not staying in freshman dorms. Yep. This kind of thing. It's way different. Yep. So I think that, that's something that has to be considered. And I'll add this in it. You talk about NIL packages. I think LSU has rolled out everything except the NIL package. And a lot of fans might say, oh, wait, that's not good. You think about when you're trying to close a deal, whether you're in business, sales, or whatever you're doing, you're not going to put the best offer out there first. I think they're going to wait and see what happens before that January decision. And maybe we'll say Christmas, right around that New Year's, they feel they've got a really good relationship. It's kind of the hook, line, and sinker, type of mantra here. Now let's throw that in. He really likes it. He's enjoying it. And now this is the cherry on top.
I agree with that too. You can't throw that out.
I think LSU's positioning.
No doubt.
No, you can't.
Hold. You got to hold the ace in the sleeve a little until you have to drop it down.
Especially if it's a good
Don't let your ace get trumped by another ace.
No doubt.
Nice 2.5 carat, 3
He
carat
wasn't
ring.
he wasn't the only one on campus last weekend though, right? They had a pretty good.
They had a stable.
Yeah, they had a pretty good group of recruits coming in, showing them how is that looking. You've mentioned it a couple times. We talk recruiting a little bit, not too much on the show. Obviously, as it starts getting closer to signing day, that will start happening more. But you had a lot of guys on campus. You talk about Bryce Underwood. Jawan Johnson was on campus. You talk about all these other guys. What did it look like? What is some of the feedback you got from some of these guys? And what is the recruiting class going to look like, you think, when it's all said and done?
Yeah, specifically with the 2024 class, I mean, you had 2 decommitments this week, a flip, Andre Evans, flips from LSU to Georgia. You hate to lose that, but I mean, look, we got to be honest with ourselves. What is Georgia? They're a well-oiled machine. Yeah. I mean, it just is what it is over there. They can offer you some things that I don't think LSU can right now. And I'll say this, one of the big things is NFL aspirations as a defensive back. And a lot of LSU fans might say, wait, DBU. And look, on our podcast, I've been very critical. You got to earn that. You have to re-earn that moniker, DBU. So until that, I think you're going to see them struggle with a little bit of DBs in that recruiting cycle. But you mentioned the guys that were there. You lose those 2. They added in, a guy right outside of Atlanta in C.J. Jackson, the 4-star linebacker that is, I think, going to be a nice player that can play the edge position for them going forward. You continue to look. Yes, you missed on a couple of those guys, but Terry Bussey, the 5-star that is committed to Texas A&M, went on an official visit this past weekend, and I don't want to say that it's one of those things where he is leaning LSU right now, but there's a lot of folks around the program that feel like, once again, they were able to put their best foot forward this past Saturday, and that's another guy that you add to that 2024 class that would be just tremendous. And then the 2025 class, I said this. We recorded a recruiting podcast earlier, and if you're interested in recruiting, you should check it out. It was really, really good. Sat down with our recruiting.
Give it a plug.
Guru.
What is it? Plug it.
3, 2, 1. Plug it.
It's really easy. The Go 24/7 podcast. Just look it up on YouTube. We published it out this morning. It was we got some fantastic notes over there that I think you would enjoy. The 2025 class and then the 2026 just inside the state of Louisiana. There's a lot of people like in our industry that their sole focus is recruiting. They've said to us, like, if LSU can say, if they can get 80, 90% of the guys in those 2 years and stay inside the state, that is the foundation of a championship roster, because the upside of these guys is ridiculous. So, we mentioned a couple of those names, but I think one guy that we have to keep our eye on is out of New Orleans is Harlem Berry, 5-star running back that, Frank Wilson has done a tremendous job of building a relationship with this guy. He is a game changer type of back. You go watch his film. This is ridiculous too, and you guys can tell real quickly from one of the helmets, my background, it has me excited. He's drawn some Bijan Robinson comparisons with his ability to be utilized. And so if that's a guy that can, and Bijan Robinson is a freak in his own right. If that's a guy that can, even be a quarter or a half of what that is, you're talking about a game-changing type of player in this offense that, once again, the 2024, 2025, 2026, all the guys really enjoyed the visits. They're going to place an emphasis on Louisiana as they should, but, they look to it. Michigan, obviously, Bryce Underwood and his high school teammates, who's a 4-star receiver, was down here. LSU's a national brand, and I know you guys, and we'll kind of end it with this. The success of everything on campus is one thing that kids continue to talk about. The amount of times that these kids have come on a visit and Angel Reese just happens to be around, or Kim Mulkey just happens to be around, like that is, it's nuts. I'll paint this as we're getting ready and we're on the sideline pregame and talking with a bunch of the guys. Angel Reese, Kim Mulkey, everyone, Flage, they all enter the building and they're walking from the student section. LSU is literally like you're watching Jaden Daniels, all these guys go through drills in the field. Every single recruit turns around, pulls out their phone, and wants to take a picture. So you talk about the brand value of LSU, what's happening across athletics, baseball-wise too. I think that it really helps and it benefits everybody in this, and especially football as well. So,
no doubt.
Also, I'll tell you this, I'm excited about the new baseball commit, and I don't know. I know Jay can't talk about that kind of stuff, but that kid's legit.
Yeah, I just don't know. He's probably not going to end up on campus.
Probably too legit.
I know, man.
Yeah, and look, he reclassified to 2024 or 2025.
Yeah.
I think reclassified to 2025,
think.
24. Yeah, whatever. He was supposed to be 2025.
Mikey's a big baseball guy.
Reclassified to 2024. He's a monster of a kid. He's 6'5", 215. That doesn't seem like he's going to end up on campus. Now, being the fact that he is younger, that may help, but that also may hurt. It's kind of an in-between. Like, hey, he's younger. He needs some extra time to develop. We still can draft him as a junior. It's a year younger. Great. But maybe we draft him at 17. He is that good. Now he's getting drafted at 17. We have that extra year of leverage in professional baseball. Now we get him at whatever. So I'm with you. I think he's great. I don't know. I'm going to hold my expectations for him getting on campus a little bit low right there. But
6'5", 215. That's a corner infielder. That's a third baseman. It kind of feels like.
Third
baseman.
baseman.
He sticks short.
That's the new age shortstop.
In the league.
It depends.
In the league, because you got guys like Jeremy Pena, big dudes, Correa. Like, I get that, but I don't know.
It depends. It depends on how that weight is distributed in his body and how he can move with it, right? Like if he is 6'5", 215, but he's a lean 215, I think he's fine.
It really doesn't. That matters. But like we could look at somebody like Corey Seager. He's not the leanest of 215s, but he's always been smooth and can move.
Right,
and he's stuck there at short.
You got to be able to move. A-Rod was a bigger dude.
Yeah.
Jeter was a bigger dude, but Jeter was kind of on the leaner side, but big guys.
Cal Ripken.
But they were able to move. Cal Ripken was a big dude.
Yeah.
You got to be able to move laterally. I'm not saying he can't stick at short, but
got to see how the feet play.
Exactly. So we'll see. But I'm with you. I'm very excited. If he shows up on campus, that's another one that you pay to go watch.
Yeah,
for sure.
Oh yeah.
Bryce, as always, we appreciate you. We'll have you on next week. Obviously, there's a bye week. We can talk all things World Series baseball when you come back on next week.
Let's do it, man.
You love baseball. I love that
too. If y'all have me.
No, just make sure your tire doesn't.
Look, when it rains, it pours, Bryce. That's how it goes.
At least you knew how to change your tire.
No, we didn't.
I did.
Oh,
I did.
Nice. Mikey tried to jump somebody off in the parking lot here, and I'm convinced he didn't know how to do it.
Well, first of all, let's rephrase what you just said there.
Let's not get demonetized.
Yeah, let's rephrase that. I did.
Jump.
It was not fault. No, you're fine. Come on in. I did help them jump their car. Their car was just super dead, so it just wasn't. They needed new batteries, so the jump didn't work. Didn't matter. It was not on me.
Gotcha.
Okay? I knew what I was doing.
Gotcha.
To Lloyd's surprise. To Lloyd's surprise.
Those are a car.
Yeah, but that's it. That's all we got. We appreciate you. We'll see you next week. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. Enjoy the game, and enjoy this beautiful weather.
Awesome, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you, man. Salute to service.
It's gonna be good. I mean, I think basically the answers that he gave us were pretty much what we expected. It's a tough game to like. You don't want to like. Analyze the game really. What do you want to see from LSU, and what do they want to do? That's kind of what you're looking at now, and giving the respect to the opponent and having a cool opponent coming in. That's awesome.
Yeah, if it ends up being a football game, then people would be upset.
Now, 32 points is a lot. I tend to think that they may be able to cover that. I know. Then he goes 38-10, 41-10 doesn't cover.
Right, you almost have to shut him out.
45-10 does, so like that seems reasonable to me. But before I even saw the spread, I thought it was going to be higher, to be honest with you. But it makes a lot of sense. They're going to shorten the game, run the ball, the clock's going to be running, not as many possessions.
And how long do the starters play?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
And then you start if they're in for 4 quarters, probably going to cover. If they're not, maybe not going to cover.
Like for whatever the reason is, if we're moving the rock and up and down the field, scoring a little bit, and it's 28-3 going into the third.
Yeah.
Do you keep the starters out there if they can't move the ball? Like, does our starter stay out there for a long time? Like
I don't know what that number.
And that's why I'm like, 32's deep, because if they're even able to be somewhat successful, maybe they don't score, maybe they're just long drives, but if they're able to be somewhat successful, you're like, I don't really want Jaden in there for 4 quarters. It's like to not have him in there for 4.
Yeah, I guess you almost have to treat it like a preseason game a little bit, where you're all right. This is a number. If it goes well, is what I'm saying. There's almost like a pitch count. You would hope.
Kind of like what you did with Grambling or whoever. No, it's not going to be that.
I think it's one of those.
He's
I don't even
playing
think
at
it's
such a
that.
high
I literally
level.
think it's all bets are off until they're not.
Yeah.
You at one point you'll realize.
Oh God.
Somewhat call off the dogs.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little baseball before we get to the end of it.
Something happened yesterday.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Hold on. Let me get there. Obviously, we're going to talk about bets because there's a lot of bets that I want to place for this weekend, right? There's a lot of really good games. We're going to talk about the college football slate, talk about the bets, talk about baseball. Before we get there, though, that conversation with Bryce Koon is brought to you by our friends at Heineken. Heineken is one of our OG partners. Heineken Silver is their light beers, 95 calories, 4% alcohol, very good. The weather is beautiful. Put it on ice, bring it to the tailgates, hang out, go out there early.
Often.
Give respect to your
Pour one out for the troops.
Give respect to the troops and give them a really good atmosphere. What happens? What comes with an atmosphere?
Thank them for their service with the Heineken.
Right? Nice cold beer, Heineken Silver. Give it a shot. Really good. 95 calories, 4% alcohol. We enjoy it. Lloyd enjoys it. Jared enjoys it. We bring it to the tailgates. If you see us, we'll crack one open and drink one with you. Shout out to our friends at Heineken. All right. Baseball. Still going on. Right? Well, we're not clapping yet. Let me get there. We have the Rangers-Astros are playing the ALCS, right? The Rangers started off 2-0, won 2 games in Houston. Houston now then drives down about 3.5 hours to Dallas. Not drives, flies. To 3.5 hours to Dallas.
This ain't no way.
And they end up taking the first 2 games of the Rangers home game. Now they play tonight or today. In Dallas for the 3rd game before they go to Houston for the final 2 games of the series if necessary. I, being a fan of baseball, being around it, I wanted to see the Rangers win one of those first 2 games and make it 3-1. It was 2-0. Obviously, the Astros won 1. I needed the Rangers to win last night for me to feel pretty confident in them being able to finish off the series. They did not. They got their ass beat 10-3. And now it's a 2-2 series. I don't feel quite as confident now as I did of the Rangers winning the series. Now they play tonight. Hopefully they win. Astros are obviously the more experienced team. They've been in the ALCS for 7 straight years. We'll see. But it looked like it was a fun game.
Did look like it was a fun game, and I'm kind of on the same camp as you on this one. I don't.
How'd you hear him?
I'm not sure they wanted a situation where they had to go back to Houston and have to face.
They face Verlander tonight.
Well, they face Verlander tonight.
Verlander looks rough in the uniform. The baseball uniform doesn't really not a lot of room for forgiveness there. Age is showing.
No, he looks pretty much the same as he did when he was younger.
Same thing. I think it's kind of the same. It just never did. Now that you realize he's older, you're like, but it's kind of always been the same thing. Mm-hmm. But I don't think they ever wanted to have to go back to Houston
or down.
Yeah. Well, to go back there at all, to have to see Javier for a second time, to have to see Framber for a second time there in Houston in that situation. So I do think tonight's huge for them. It just so happens to be against Verlander.
No, and they have to win. Like they have Jordan Montgomery. This was a great game 1 matchup. They if the Rangers are getting a little thin on the mound, right? Like they have got to win this game and put themselves in a position to clinch Game 6 in Houston and be able to use every pitcher they have at their disposal. I think one of their best pitchers, honestly, has been Jordan Montgomery. I mean, threw really well, so this is a good opportunity for him to go out there and put themselves in a position to take the driver's seat. I have never been to Globe Life until last night.
How'd you get there?
It was great. We had a nice. I had a ride. I had a nice
ride on the ground.
Very convenient. We were in the air. It was a very convenient.
What row did you sit in?
Transportation. The rows weren't numbered.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a seat. I was in a seat.
Did you drive the speed limit?
Yeah, it was there wasn't a lot of traffic.
Did you use cruise control or did you
autopilot, I think is what they call it.
Oh.
Yeah. There wasn't a lot of traffic.
It's definitely not cruise control.
Up in the air.
Different.
So you didn't take a shift behind the wheel?
No, we got there, look, our trip is great.
Hour?
An hour trip is great. We got back this morning early enough to go, do work, do whatever I needed to do. But the new stadium in Texas is awesome. The surrounding areas around the stadium, at Texas Live, is awesome. It's really cool. You obviously have Jerry World out there in the backdrop, but Yeah, it was really cool. I am a little disappointed though, like in the atmosphere itself.
It's too hoity-toity.
I don't know if it was hoity-toity. It's very big. It's massive. So like,
Bring
just
back the
didn't
ballpark in
feel
Arlington.
Like the ballpark is still up. It's called Choctaw Stadium now. It is still standing, which is still beautiful. It's awesome.
Gorgeous.
It's an awesome stadium. Understand why they had to get a new one. It is dreadfully hot in the summertime. Like day games, it is brutal. They had the roof open last night. It was great. I got to see one of our friends, one of Jared's best friends, and Danny McCray. Just ran into him on the concourse. He was there watching, supporting the Astros. He's from Houston. Lives in Dallas, but from Houston. And the Astros put it on the Rangers, 10-3. It got close. It was 3-3, and I was like, this is going to be good. And then Jose Abreu hit a ball to the rocket ship.
To Jerry's world.
To the moon. It was a 440-foot homer at 111 miles an hour off the bat. Like, he smushed it. And so now it's a tie. The series is back even, 2-2, so we'll see what happens tonight. The other series that is going on are the Phillies and the Diamondbacks. I would love to go to a game. Like, Philly is the one that, like, damn, this is awesome, right? And Philly was up 2-0. The Diamondbacks got back in the series last night. They walked them off in the bottom of the ninth. They won that game 2-1. So
scrappy bottom of the ninth.
Scrappy bottom. I think that the Phillies win this game. Like, I think that it is a, for sure gonna like be a Phillies win. I don't know in how many games, but it's nice that for the Diamondbacks to get a win. I think the Phillies win the next two and they move on. So
it's like these two teams are like looking in a mirror, though. They both have that a little bit of like feels like a team of destiny feel for both of them between the Diamondbacks and the Phillies. In my mind, like the way they play, they're both having the two teams that are having the most fun.
Oh, they're definitely having the most fun.
Sure.
I think when you watch the Diamondbacks, you see a team that's a little young, playing a little over their skis, and they can't do any wrong right now. I feel like when I look at the other side, it's a star-studded lineup in an unbelievable sports town, and they're on an unbelievable run right now. And they've been on a mission since last year,
no doubt. After
losing in the World Series. So it's they're both playing really well on a ton of confidence, but I feel like when you watch that Phillies team, it's like, how do you beat that right now?
No doubt. And here's the other thing for them, right? Obviously, they had some issues in the back end of their bullpen, but they have one of the better guys throwing in the back end of their bullpen that's very experienced, has a bunch of saves, going to be in the Hall of Fame.
So accomplished and still looks the same.
And Kimbrel. But I think
I
think one of the big things that they have done and that has helped Philly make this run is you have a number one and number two that is as good as anybody, right? That number three guy has been Ranger Suarez, and Ranger Suarez, kind of a starter, kind of a long reliever, kind of in the pen. He's been starting as that Game 3 starter, and he's been lights out. Last night, yesterday again, threw his ass off. He pitched great, didn't give up a bunch, was doing everything he needed to do. They ended up getting walked off in the bottom of the ninth, not his fault, but him doing what he's been doing, I think that has made a huge difference with the Phillies, and I think that that to me is a reason why I think that they're going to make a run. They're going to hopefully win the World Series. That is who I'm rooting for. I do not have a future. You do. So I know you're rooting for them as well.
Big Phillies guy.
Big Phillies guy.
That's why he's so quiet right now.
I would love to go to a game in Philly. That'd be awesome.
He's producing with his pocket right now. That's why he's so quiet.
No doubt.
What's that mean?
Well, I mean, you see these money signs in your eyes.
Oh, that's true. God, that would be awesome.
Mm-hmm. But
just on a whim, sometimes you get that funny feeling, and you're like, Phillies plus 3,000. Weren't they good last year? I didn't even know they went to the World Series last year.
They were, and they've been one of the best teams, top 3 teams in all of baseball the last 4 months of the regular season. They got off to such a bad start in the season, but the last 4 months they were one of the top 3 teams in all of baseball. So it's not like this came out of nowhere.
Where's Ryan Howard? Why isn't he in the lineup?
Probably a special assistant to the GM or something.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know.
Chase
Utley.
Jim Tomei waiting AAA.
Chase Utley's probably not. I think he's
Jimmy Rollins isn't walking through that door.
No.
This is really
Jason
young,
Worth either.
Really young arm named Cole Helmsley. I think he's going to be good for him too.
Mm-hmm.
Lefty.
Yep, lefty. Yeah, I think
a lot of promise.
A lot of promise.
But yeah, that was our baseball conversation. On the other part of college baseball, how about Jay, our boy Jay? Jay had a good day yesterday.
Hey.
He had a good day yesterday.
You know what that means for us? You get at least 7 more years of mic'd up.
Hey, listen, and I'm willing to bet that within those 7 years, it probably gets restructured again. World Series are really good. We like that here in Baton Rouge.
Apparently they pay.
If he does it again, not saying he's going to repeat this year, but at some point within these 7 years, you'd imagine another restructure of it. Look, the way the economy works, you have inflation, and the dollar loses some value, and so now the $2 million needs to be $3 million, or so forth and so on. But he's earned this. He deserves this. Shout out to Jay. Very fired up for him. Very fired up for the team, because now there's obviously the stability and these recruits that come in. Hey, listen, I ain't going anywhere, boys. I'm here. You don't have to worry about me going coach a different team.
Major
go
League
play.
Baseball.
Yeah, no, I'm here.
not leaving.
I think that's the other unique thing about college baseball is like NFL. College football. A lot of these football coaches can go somewhere else to the highest bidder one, or hey, I'm using this. I'm gonna have a lot of success in college and then go to the NFL. Right? That's a goal for a lot of these college coaches. In college baseball, more times than not, it seems like these college baseball coaches stay in college. They don't want to go coach professionally. It's like one or the other. I'm either going to be a professional coach or a college coach, and Jay is college through and through.
I think that's the best. The best point you just made about what you just said is especially when it comes to football, even in basketball. Like if you could be at the top university or one of the top universities and be absolutely killing it, and there's still always like truly that threat of NBA and or NFL team knocking on your door,
right,
continuing to say, hey, come on over here. Not to say that it doesn't happen in baseball, but I think people inside the baseball community know, for a lot of different reasons, honestly, especially if you don't mind recruiting, the better route in the coaching career is being in the college side,
right,
especially if you're at one of those top universities. And because of the security, because of how much you can do, because if you don't know what's going to go on with a major league and or professional ball coach's career. And to be able to do it here is, like I know it. There's a lot of coaches in professional ball that if a job opens up here, they're putting in their application to try to get this job here. And that's, that's the difference in the games.
No doubt.
How many do y'all know of any coaches that have gone from college to major league, like managerial
College
roles?
baseball?
Yeah, Arizona State. The guy that was at Arizona State for a while. The one that was like I forget his name, Murphy.
Pat Murphy.
Pat Murphy.
That's right. He's the only one.
That's the only one that I can think of, like literally off the top of my head.
Who do you manage in the big leagues?
Oh man,
The Minnesota Twins.
I don't remember.
I don't think it was the Twins. Maybe no, it wasn't Baltimore. Who
I
was
don't know
it?
why I want to say Pirates.
It's the Brewers.
Brewers.
When was that?
But it was somebody else before the Brewers too, though, right? Or did he go?
It's Arizona State. Oh, he's the guy. Padres to Brewers.
Padres. That's
There
right.
it is. Yep.
He was the guy that when they went to the College World Series, he had them fake fight their teammates broke into a fake
Yeah,
fight.
they had the lefty Aussie. They had Cole Calhoun on that team and all that. Yeah.
We played them.
We didn't. They were in that. They were in that.
But
World
that
Series. Yeah, they were in that.
That was the same year. Yeah.
I think that's who you're supposed to play. I think they kind of shit the bed.
Yeah. But that's the only.
That's the only one I can think of.
To your
crazy.
question, that's the only one. There's been a handful of college basketball coaches do it. There's been, obviously numerous college football coaches do it. So,
and the question doesn't stop when you're a college football coach. Like I feel like Nick Saban's like the only one that's really good that are just like he's not.
because he's already done it. And you're like, hey, I'm
he's
here.
not going anywhere.
Hey, listen, I'm making $12 million, $13 million here.
What do you want me to do?
I ain't leaving.
And I think that's another part of it too, is the money doesn't change that much. Like you would think that if you go to a major league,
You get
or
paid more.
NFL,
Oh no, it's probably about the same.
That's what I'm saying. It's not like, I have
But
to
that's
go
if
there.
you're a manager though. Like
right.
somebody may realize that Jay's a really good hitting guy.
Yeah.
How many of them are saying, "Hey, you just skip all that and just come over and manage the big league team"? Like it doesn't really happen.
Yeah.
So like as for
still
what
gotta
he's
pay your
probably gonna be
dues.
making now to whatever that situation would be, unless he wants to take the hit, it's like man, it's
The
best
only
option.
guys that I would imagine that would do it are baseball guys, like professional guys, right? Like, hey, I played professional baseball for a long time. I did go to college. I played professional. This is my way of getting in without having to go through the minor league system of coaching, right? But you haven't seen that yet, and you may. You just don't see it often. So shout out to Jay. Fired up for him to be able to be here for as long as he wants to be here, it seems like. And
Got our guy.
we got our guy.
Feels
We got our
good.
guy. It does. You know what else feels good is winning a lot of money.
Winning a lot of money?
Winning a lot of money when you start gambling, when you gamble and you win. I am finally got to the over the even of my last buy-in, not even for good. But the last time I did it early in the football season,
you made up some ground.
I've made up some ground. I have made up some ground, and I am looking to stay with that upward trajectory and the road to even money. Here we come. Okay?
He said the road to
even money.
Hey, this is such a conundrum right here.
I'm not trying to make a profit.
It's like, do I want to put it out there and give me all the good vibes and everybody feeling it, or do I stay quiet and just ride this?
Trying to get to even. Okay?
That's not asking
Yours
a
is
lot.
the road to 2K.
Yes, we're there.
Or no, 3K.
3K. It's a slow burn.
Mine is the road to even.
It's hard to tell because I have far too many bets out there.
Yeah, but here we go. Okay? So there's a ton of games out.
You say a game, I'll tell you if I gambled on it already.
All right, so obviously you have the Penn State at Ohio State. That one is the premier game of the day. That is the top 10 matchup. That is Penn State is ranked 7th in the country. They have played not one team on their schedule yet has with a winning record. Okay, so they have beat the look, and the schedule is the schedule, and you can say what you want to say, but that's who it was. That's who they had to play against, and they have taken care of everybody they need to take care of. Ohio State obviously has the bigger win. Ohio State beat Notre Dame? That was 11 on the field or the 10 on the field for
10
Notre
on the
Dame,
field
right?
twice.
So
Ryan Day versus Lou Holtz.
Yep. So Ohio State beats Notre Dame in a game that you felt like Notre Dame probably should have won, but they won. So Ohio State's ranked 3 in the country. Penn State 7. The line on the Caesars app is 5. What do we like?
Ohio State and the under.
So you like the points? You like Ohio State given 5?
I did. Well, there's a
a
boost out there if you
Okay.
want it. Ohio State money line, Oklahoma money line, both to win, 2-leg parlay, even money.
Okay. Who's Oklahoma play?
I don't know, but I saw that and I thought, hey,
Just
I
pick
wa-
it. Just pick
I
it.
just took
Screw
it. But also Oklahoma football.
I like
see.
Ohio. I think I like Ohio State
UCF.
5 too. I like Ohio State -5. I just feel like Penn State's not proven. Penn State doesn't ever beat Ohio State or Michigan. Penn State's going to go 10-2 this year, and they're going to have a loss to Ohio State and a loss to Michigan. That's just the way it goes. You just mark it down. It's going to happen. And if it doesn't, great for Penn State. I'm taking Ohio State -5. Jay, are you on that same?
Hold on.
I agree with that.
Yep.
I agree.
Okay.
What do
And
you think?
this game's in Columbus, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you think James Franklin's record is since 2016 and against top 10 opponents?
Top 10 or just those two?
How many
Against top 10 opponents.
How many games total?
15.
I'm gonna
1
go
and 15.
I'm gonna go 4-11.
3 and 12.
Not great.
No wins on the road. None of those wins came on the road, and they're
I
going.
think he should just start throwing it up. You know, like if the quarterback gets out
Throw
there,
it deep.
just throw it deep. Just give him a shot. You know,
Sometimes you just got to throw it up
just
there.
don't even play real football. Just throw it up.
Do you like me
Maybe
buying?
he should.
Do you
3
like
and
me?
12.
Do you like me buying the number to 4.5, buying it down?
No, doesn't make any
You
sense.
like it at 5? Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Unless you
Just-
want to go all the way to 2.5.
I'm not going 3 points. I mean,
So it's at 5.
2.5 points.
It's at 5. Yeah, you'd stick there.
Yeah,
Fine.
yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, I'm going right now. You like the under on that too?
I do. Ohio State played very salty defense. Penn State, obviously, in big games, I haven't seen a lot from their offense. They clearly don't throw it deep, from what I've heard. It seemed to touch a nerve with James Franklin, who was caught at practice saying, "We're throwing it deep," while the media was there. So that guy just has been getting worn out.
Oh, football, yeah.
Love
So,
that. Okay, here's the other one. Tennessee at Alabama. Number
Hard at
17, Tennessee at number 11, Alabama. Alabama's favored by 8.5. It says it here, but let's see. It's 9. It's up to 9 now.
what game is this?
Tennessee.
I'm gonna take
at
Tennessee
Alabama.
covering there.
You think you're gonna take Tennessee covering?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll take Tennessee
that's
covering.
what I was debating. I don't know.
I'm gonna take Tennessee covering. I think Alabama's doing this win ugly thing, if you will. Not really that ugly. I just think they realize what they got and how to play it and what their strengths are and stay into it.
Here's the reason why I don't like the cover. I think it's going to be a cover all game until the end, until like the last 3 minutes.
That's what they've been doing.
And Alabama's going to end up like being up by 7, and then Tennessee's going to have to try to go for it on 4th. Alabama stops them, and they get a trash touchdown or field goal to cover.
That's fair.
That's the only reason, and that's the only reason I don't think. I think
that would honestly go along with my point is because I'm thinking about Tennessee's quarterback play, and I'm just like, he's not going into that building and getting it done. And even if he keeps it close, that could be the next thing that happens. Is like, oh, we were close for so long, and then just couldn't finish. And the not finish is some kind of trash touchdown, like you said, or some field goal that kind of puts it away, like really out of hand. I can see that.
The over/under is 47. 47.5. I think I like the under on that too.
That's what I snagged.
I think I like the under. I'm taking that one too.
What's the number?
47.5.
Go ahead and get that to 48. I believe is what I did.
I mean, maybe, but
you don't have to. I think it's the under both teams. I just got it at 48. I should have gone to 49. But with the way that both these teams play, you don't get a lot of. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of rhythm to either one of their games. Jalen Milroe has been, I think, in throws over 25 yards in the air. He's completing like 65% of his passes. So that's where they're getting their offense is big plays.
And they'll run and then.
And it's a lot of ugly, good. And
right.
For the Alabama, you'd have to think that Nick Saban, lasting memory of losing to Tennessee at Tennessee and everybody smoking cigars on the field and all of that, don't think that doesn't play in his mind.
No doubt. Okay, the next one I want to talk about, Duke at Florida State.
Duke.
It depends. I don't know. Is Leonard playing or no?
Leonard playing is the question.
Even if he is, if it's still a question, he's not going to be 100%.
Yeah, but it's 14.5 points is the spread. And that line leads me to believe that he is not playing.
Well, I mean, yeah, they obviously kind of pretty much said it with the assumption that he's not playing, knowing the injury that he has and how long that usually takes to come back. So that doesn't surprise me, but I don't know, man. If he gets in there, I don't know. That's an interesting one.
I know that's 14.5 is a lot of points. I just don't know.
I believe it is available. 2-leg teaser is what I did on this game. Duke to 21.5, under 56.
Under 56.
Okay. Duke does play good defense.
Duke does play good defense.
Duke has a good defense.
And 56, you would expect Florida State. I mean, that leaves you some room, you would hope. Florida State still has big play potential. Keon Coleman back on doing his deal again. He's a very streaky wide receiver, but he's back in the conversation of being like a top 3, top 5 wide receiver for the draft. So, and you haven't seen really Florida State play in like a minute, it feels like. They've been tested.
What time is that game? I can't even find it on my app. Oh, there it is. It's 14 now on the app.
6:30.
So it's 14. And you said the over-under is what?
I teased this. Whenever you click on both and go to parlay, it should give you like an option to hit a teaser. So I got it up at 21.5.
I'm going to tease it with you.
I like that
number.
number.
Tease it with you. So you got it to what?
21.5 and 56. Duke at 21.5.
Wait, teaser. Boom.
Under 56.
20. It says 20.5.
You can keep sliding that thing.
Oh, there you go.
Slide that scale.
It's not letting me slide the scale. There we go.
You
said 21.5?
Mm-hmm.
It only lets me go to 21. And then
that's tough.
Over.
Under.
Why is it okay, I'm going to do this after.
Yeah, that's riveting for the podcast.
It's messing this thing up. Okay.
Just bet. Do it. Do it now. Click it.
No, it's not what I want right now.
Just click.
Pressure.
A lot of pressure.
You can go back and do it again.
A lot of pressure.
Bet it twice.
Utah USC -7. USC is giving 7 points.
Is Rising playing?
I don't know. 7 points. Utah's got a good defense. USC's coming off an abysmal offensive game.
Oof, bad.
Throw 3 interceptions. Obviously, you're at home. You're trying to make another statement. Is Cam
Rising?
Yeah.
Cam Rising, is he playing?
Playing or not, I'm going to take USC covering in this one.
I don't know.
I'm going to take it. Coming off that bad game, Lincoln Riley, very good coach, figures it out offensively. They put out a good showing. It may be a high scoring one, but they put off. I think they cover and get it done.
Are they going to try to do too much to try to overcompensate?
I think that's where they were last week, and that's why it happened that way. And I think that's why they kind of right the ship a little bit this week.
I'm going to take USC with you at -7. There's some SEC games that are actually very interesting.
Did a little 2-leg parlay, the over and USC money line.
There you go. Arkansas is playing Auburn. Arkansas is favored by 6.5. I know Arkansas has been playing a lot of teams tough. What?
Nothing.
Oh, why'd you give me that look? Why'd you give me
I
that?
looked at that was my brain thinking. You don't see it often.
Arkansas is favored by 2.5. I mean, 6.5.
Ole Miss and Auburn play. That's what I was.
That's what I meant. Ole Miss is favored.
I can't say because I took the over in that game and I was like,
Arkansas.
oh God, did I take
Arkansas
the over in
is
Arkansas
playing.
game?
Who's Arkansas playing? I literally just looked at this. Anyway,
Mississippi State. That game will
that's right.
not.
Mississippi State.
These eyeballs will not catch a single.
I know
second
that.
of
I know that.
football
But
game.
six. That was it. It was 6.5.
Not one tackle.
It was 6.5. I feel like Arkansas is a better team, but like 6.5.
Sure.
I don't know. Whatever. I mean, whatever.
They can play in my backyard and I wouldn't watch.
The other one I think is very interesting is Missouri versus South Carolina.
You know that.
I'll actually watch that one probably.
Yeah, I'll watch whatever's on those two TVs, unless it's Mississippi State.
Missouri's favored by
Missouri's
favored by 7.5.
Missouri is getting a lot of love right now.
I know.
Shane Beamer broke his foot. Did you see that? After the loss, he kicked a bucket.
Yeah, but what does that mean? Who cares?
Well, I'm saying.
It's not going to affect anything.
What did you do? Kick a bucket of concrete?
I guess so. I was wondering how you do
what?
break your foot.
Do you like 7.5?
this?
Do you like Missouri by 7.5?
I like the over in that game.
Give me the over, and they're not, no. I don't think they're covering that. 7.5, huh?
It depends on if you get good rattler or bad rattler.
Right.
And their coach is, probably in a golf cart.
Coach from the hospital bed.
Hey, it's been done before.
Happened before.
He broke his foot kicking a bucket.
Kick the
Can't
bucket.
get over that.
He said he kicked something he shouldn't have, which I don't even know what the.
It wasn't a bucket. You
could
just
have
made the
been
bucket
anything.
up there.
Yeah.
But
what
didn't
is
kick a bucket.
What does that mean?
He probably
What else is
kicked
on
like
the pylon.
a table that like
Must have hit the camera.
Oh,
or something
yeah.
like that like not moving or.
I say
I
it
was
didn't
thinking
move. It didn't give the way he thought it
I
was
was
going
thinking like a Gatorade cooler.
I mean, I guess he could have done that.
Rattler was good in this last game in the loss to Florida. 23 of 30, 313 with 4 touchdowns.
I know.
So that's why I like the over. And Missouri's offense is kind
took
of
the over.
yeah.
Missouri's offense is good.
It's good.
Yes, it's very good. I took the over. I have a lot more that I'm going to get in there. I'm going to dissect it, but
I need to start doing some
there's a
player
lot.
props.
There's
Those
always,
are fun.
There's always good games. Always good
Oi.
games on here. Let's make some money.
Let's make
Later,
some money.
dude. Make some money. I'm with it. I'll make some money. No, you interrupt all you want. That's all good.
Later. He probably knows how to break your foot.
Why? Because the
Kicker. Things to avoid.
Brad Wing, special guest appearance.
Yes.
Or passing by.
Ozzy.
Um,
Toilet spins the other way.
Spins the other way. I like the gambling we got going on. I like. Hey, here's the deal. So I do a little thing with my buddies from back, like my hometown guys, like the guys I grew up with, and we do like that the whole weekly fantasy football thing, right? So like you have 20 guys in this
daily
league.
fantasy.
Yeah. So you have 20 guys in this league. Everybody puts up whatever it would be like. It would come out to like $20 a game. And so you put up front before the year starts, and then every week you just change your lineup based off. You have $60,000 of fake dollars, and you have to
allocate
it to however expensive or whatever. And so if you win, you win that week, you pretty much get your buy-in
for the next week.
You get it for the you've already paid it, so you're barely paying yourself back, right? I'm on a little bit of a heater, boys. I came out second 2 weeks ago. Came out second last week. I lost by a point because my good friend had a guy who threw a touchdown, ended up passing me up. All I needed was it was a Pollard. I just needed one catch.
His ankle's broken.
I needed one catch. Didn't get the catch, and I lost. But I came out second, so I got more money.
Some money.
I'm halfway back.
Gambling on all fronts seems to be going well for you.
Well, I've already spent that money. I'm just trying to get that money back. So same thing.
Same thing here. Yeah.
But that's fun.
Chase the cat, baby. Chase the cat.
We should do that for our gambling picks. You should put like week to week, whoever does the best, you win the pot on that too. So you're gambling on gambling.
Oh, yeah. But the problem is,
We all,
we
like
all
to
have
take,
to put the same amount of bets in.
Yeah.
You can put more bets,
Yeah,
but
you
the
just
ones
pick your
that count for
favorite
this, you got to
5.
pick your favorite 5.
Pick your
Yeah.
five. Man, pick your 5. That's
Okay, we're going to do that. We honestly should start doing it.
Yeah.
We
Maybe
should start, hey, put your favorite 5 in for the in the
doc.
clubhouse.
Yes.
All you clubbies.
Get the kangaroo court money.
Well, I think we got something going on here. I think we should do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can we get in trouble for that?
And hell no. What, gambling?
Yeah, I guess not.
No,
You
that's
buy
illegal.
squares. People buy squares and stuff for like March Madness and all that kind of Super Bowl and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So okay, let's
do it responsibly.
Let's organize this thing. Let's actually do this something. Finally, do it to where we're doing it right and not
Yeah.
just say something.
I'm
All
good
right.
at that.
Yeah, we're all very good at that. Let's make
Ideas
this
guy.
happen. I think that's a good idea.
Thrive on enthusiasm.
I think that's a great idea.
Thank you.
What's your schedule? What's your plan for tomorrow?
Not as, I don't think as aggressive as last Saturday from,
soft.
yeah, and from sun up to sun up. Maybe get out there at 1:30, 2:30.
That's still good. That's a good time to get
Couple
out
of
there.
Heinekens at the house, get dropped off.
There you go.
Party box.
There you go. What?
What? Balcony?
What?
No, that place
You're not
is
going
no
there.
hell.
You're too
I
old
would,
for that.
I am.
You're too old for that.
I'm too old for that. I like to keep it low key.
What about you, Jay?
That's in the air right now. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll figure it out.
We have yet to see you.
That's not true. That is true.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? That actually is true.
We have some big ones coming up. We obviously have 4 left. You have 2 big ones coming up.
Do you think that will be a good turnout? I guess early on
Yes.
it will be for Army.
I don't know how much of a early tailgate day it'll be for a lot of these people, but it's gonna be I think it's gonna be a lot of people in the game.
Mass exodus after the first quarter, no doubt. You'll see.
I don't know. I think after halftime.
What kind of plane flies over? They saved up their money. They didn't do one for Auburn.
I think it's gonna be like a fighter jet.
It's gonna be like a bunch of them, like the Blue Angels.
Like that's what it's gonna be like that. I think they're gonna come from. They come from Bell Chase. Did you know that? How long do you think it takes them to get from Bell Chase to Baton Rouge?
7
in those
minutes.
jets? 8 minutes.
Boy, I'm on point today.
You should gamble.
How long do you think it takes the Blue Angels to get from this area to Pensacola?
35 minutes.
20 minutes.
That's flying.
Literally.
25 minutes. Literally.
Boy, that's
See,
getting
that's what's crazy to me is I'm so dumb. I didn't realize that when I just think of flying, I just think of flying. I didn't realize that
You realize, hey, this jet is going
like,
way faster.
Yeah, that's what they're paying for. Is like the different levels of jets. Like, no, this one will get you there in 15 minutes. The other one will get you there in 45. It's like, well, it's like, what's an extra $25 million? And it's like, oh,
that's it?
Yeah.
because when I took my aviation tour, I got the whole that's that one. Mm-hmm. That guy's
Hey, like when something's
really,
happening across the world and we need a fighter jet to come out from our wherever he's flying from, this is what happens.
We lose.
He ain't just puttering across to get there. Like, no, he's getting there.
Not in cruise control.
No.
You know what they do? They just eject and leave it, and then we lose the plane.
That's not good losing. The planes aren't good.
That had to be a terrible day at work.
What do you mean you lost the plane? I don't know.
You lost it.
We got insurance. No. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. This is $50 million.
Is it?
And you lost it?
This is $150 million.
It's gone?
Did you hear the 911 call with him?
No.
It was, obviously he was okay. He's like, my back hurts because he had to eject and he fell out the sky. And he lands in these people's yard and they called an ambulance. So he's like a very, obviously like great and in the sense of panic and like is obviously going through it at the moment. And he's just talking to a normal 911 operator. And she's like, so where are you hurt? He's like, my back. She's like, how do you feel? He's like, good. And it was somebody else. It was the people whose yard that he landed in that was on the phone. He's like, give me the phone. He's like, look, I'm a special forces pilot. I have ejected from a plane. I don't know where it is. I'm fine. You can send people to come, but you need to call somebody else. Like, you need to call.
This is above your pay grade here.
The woman on the phone was like, I have no idea what to do. He's like, get somebody else on the phone.
Well, he should have protocol.
He didn't have anything. He didn't have any of his stuff.
Damn. Crazy.
And it's just, this poor woman was like, how's your back? And he's like, you don't understand.
Don't worry about me.
I don't know where this plane is.
Yeah.
You're asking all the wrong questions right now.
This plane's worth more than me. Okay.
Yeah. It's just like, he goes, get somebody here.
Yeah.
We got to start. We're starting at the very bottom.
Code red.
Hey, like there's a button or a phone or something like the red phone. Pick the red phone up and let it go to the White House.
Did you hear what I said? I pressed the ejecto button on the plane. It's still going.
Whoever the most important person that works there, you go get them. You give them the phone.
Yeah.
You worried about my back?
Can I talk to your manager, please?
Right. And she goes, "Sir, I'm sorry, I have to ask all these questions. I have to go down the sheet for like insurance purposes." It's like, oh my God.
He can. I think you can verbally say, "Hey, I withdraw, or I don't need that.
Do it right now.
I don't need that. I need something
Don't
else."
send
and
an
you're not giving it
ambulance.
to me.
Send the police.
Oh, that's tough. That is tough. Well, that's a good segue into the mistake of the day for you.
I do what?
Yeah, that poor man. Mistake of the day.
Brought to you by
Doe's Eat Place.
Doe's
I have a
Eat Place.
couple. Do we
Okay,
want to
good.
get
I
into
love
this
that.
Michigan conversation?
Yeah, let's have a conversation about this.
Because I think it's too big for a mistake of the day. Because it is
Let's talk about that before we get to the mistake of the day.
Okay.
Give me the tea.
Yeah.
So, Michigan, who recently has gone head-to-head with the NCAA with the John Harbaugh suspension, and usually the NCAA will find a way to win. It may not be that day. It may not be tomorrow. It may be a month, a
They
year.
haven't won much.
But they will do something to fuck your
To
life
make you
up.
feel like they're winning.
Yes. So, at Michigan, there is rumors of a spearheaded operation by speaking of the military, a former military man that is multiple Big Ten staffers identified Stallions.
Michigan sign-stealing guru.
The old guru.
He spearheads the operation. And one Big Ten school coach told Yahoo Sports in an interview Thursday, "I once told Stallions, we know what kind of shit you are doing, and it's fucked up." And so they've been on to this guy for a while. And apparently what he's doing, Connor Stallions is shown on the Michigan sideline, but he goes to games before, and it's like he's scouting the opponent, but what he's really doing is stealing signs. He'll like take signs off your wristband. If you signal plays in, he knows the signals. And it's not really illegal, but it's illegal to do before you play the team. Like you can do it in game, but you can't do it before.
What do you mean do it?
Like steal signs.
Okay, but like you can't do it before as in can't be there in person?
No, you can't go to a team that you're about to play and steal signs.
Well, here's my question. What if you had video of that team on a road and you're able to look at the signs from that and be able to pick up that?
Yeah, it says it's done. And that's what I saw. I mean, we talked about, I don't know if I talked about it on this show, but the Alex Grinch, the defensive coordinator for USC, was once a defensive coordinator at Washington State. They had two sets of wristbands, and they got confused. Half of the defense had one of the wristbands. The other half had the other.
Wow.
And they gave up 3 straight touchdowns on 3 straight drives on 3 plays because one defense was running one coverage, one defense was running another. Needless to say, they found out at halftime, and it was a little bit too late.
Wow, is that equipment guy's issue? Is that like
They wrote
That's a hell of a way to get out of, huh?
technology? That's tough.
Yeah, needless to say, the Pirate was not too happy. But he still is. Alex Grinch remains getting jobs. They wrote a whole article about it, even with the equipment staff, like, oh, we're great at it. We have a system. They changed wristbands upwards of 20 times in a game because he was so paranoid about people stealing signs. So that's what brings me to this with Connor Stallions. If the school learned information through in-person scouting of future opponent's game that violates a near 30-year-old NCAA rule, if the school learned information through use of recording or video devices, that violates another NCAA rule. So you can't look at it on camera either. I guess this is like a...
But how do they know you're
That's
looking
what I'm
at
saying.
it
It's
on
a good old
camera?
boy system of we trust that you're not doing this when everybody's doing it. But Michigan and Harbaugh are saying that they don't know about the alleged scheme, but everybody else in the Big Ten is very aware of...
Is it very aware of the scheme or very aware of this guy?
This
knowing
guy
that this
and
guy
this-
does it, this is what he
Yes,
does.
and that's why it's there. So it's kind of like this dirty little secret that has now been outed.
How do
and
you prove this? I guess
this is the way you'd have to be like, he's cheating. Like he knows our plays. And it's been, from what I've read, it's been very apparent whenever some teams use hand signals that they're like, oh, they know what we're doing. Like you saw, who's my guy that chops the wood, Rutgers? Greg Schiano.
Greg Schiano, there you go.
He said in a
Got there.
And I did. He said in a halftime interview, he's like, look, there's a lot of weird things going on. We know what's going on. I don't want to talk about it. We have to get it cleaned up. And that was when they were playing Michigan. So he knew that they were stealing signs, and that's what kind of got this whole conversation going, and then Ross Dellinger got involved, and that's the big
You know
bad.
when Ross gets involved.
When he knocks on the door, you're in trouble. That's the principal's office for reporting.
So, I guess this leads to the next question. College baseball, you have the earpiece. College football has yet to put the right
green dot.
Do they not have that in there, right? They don't have the mic and the helmet yet, huh? For the quarterbacks and the linebackers and all that kind of stuff?
No, that's why all the signing's going on.
Right. So, I guess that the next progression would be, okay, if we're doing this in other sport and baseball, why can we not do this in football in the biggest sport of college, like the biggest money maker we have?
And it's not foreign technology to football.
They do it in the NFL. They've been doing it for a long time.
Long time.
Now
this might be the impetus that causes that.
Yeah. Look, he's stealing signs. I guess he's done it. He's really good at it, and he does it to a point where like you can't defend it, I guess.
Yeah. One Big Ten school described Michigan's sign stealing system as an elaborate scheme that relied on a combination of video footage and in-person recordings, and something that should be banned. Some things are so obvious you don't do it. It doesn't need to be written down. Another source paints the picture differently. If you don't like it, stop it. So clearly there's people on both sides of the fence here. And whoever said that is probably doing it.
A lot of bad press coming out of Michigan sports right now.
Yeah, Bryce Underwood, you don't want to get involved in all of that.
And they're winning. So they're still winning. They're apparently the best team in the country. Is what the pundits are saying.
Well, number 2.
Well, they're saying the best.
Ohio State won, Michigan 2.
They're saying the best.
Don't ask Bobby Carpenter that right now.
They're saying that Michigan is better than Georgia. That's what they're saying.
They're saying that, yeah, definitely.
They're saying that. And Georgia is undefeated, has not lost. They won last year.
Brock Bowers out for the year.
Is he out? It's 4 to 6 weeks, I thought. But he's out for the year?
That's the last thing I read. But he's getting surgery, so it has to see how the tightrope takes it.
I mean, 4 to 6 weeks wouldn't put him out for the year, though.
No, it was 4 to 6 weeks was the initial report. Then I read out for the year, and then also read underwent surgery. So I'd imagine he's getting the tightrope procedure, the same thing that Tua got, and it shortened it from 4 weeks to 2 weeks.
He'll probably be back for that Game 12 and or SEC championship.
Yeah, you're not going to keep him off the field.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, a lot of stuff happening in Michigan. They're winning. They're doing what J.J. McCarthy's playing well. Your quarterback is doing things that he needs to do, I guess. The sign stealing thing, like I get it. It sucks for the other teams.
It would suck if they come out and lose their next game or whenever I guess this ceases to exist. They beat Ohio State the last 2 years. I would imagine that they got some signs on Ohio State. Starting to make sense.
I mean, maybe.
Who are they playing this week?
Michigan State.
Don't need them.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. But if you're the next team, you got to change your signs. We'll see how this plays out.
Interesting. We'll see how it plays out. We'll see how
Just
it plays
keep your
out.
for gambling purposes.
If they end up firing this guy, then you know they're wrong, which they're not going to fire him.
No.
They can't, because that's an admission of guilt. And now it's like, hey, you're saying all these things to go improve it. I guess they could do what they did with the Patriots and go and
grab the tape,
raid their facility and try to see what the tapes they've had.
Who would do
But
that?
if there's any truth in it, it may not be admission of guilt. Like if they can prove any part of it, they might just say, "Hey, you got to go before they out all of this stuff.
Yeah,
so we're gonna get you out of here."
Fall on the sword type thing.
Yep.
For sure. All right. I don't know if that's a mistake of the day. That's just good college football news. Now,
It's just good old Jim Harbaugh news.
good old Harbaugh news. Now, mistake of the day is brought to you by our friends at
the
Doze.
NFL all the time.
Huh?
He's like, we did this in the NFL all the
This is
time.
normal.
Yeah.
Maybe Jim's trying to find his way back to the league. He's like,
He
you know what?
always
If I can't
is.
get out of here, maybe I'll do it this way.
Yeah.
Listen,
They won't fire me.
Baseball, we used to steal signs all the time. And you used to be able to watch old video from games of catchers and sequencing sides and say, hey, what sequences do they use? Now you have to get on second base to be able to even see it. And sometimes you're on second base long enough for you to be able to go through all the deals. But,
It's like a reward.
That's a thing, I don't know.
It's gamesmanship.
Mistake of the day is brought to you by our friends at Doze Place. What we got, Lloyd?
Mistake of the day is live broadcasting. If you're not quick, these new shirts will get you. Where, whoops, you have the old what's the Death fucking Valley? Those those Baton Rouge shirts. So Marshall had theirs, game fucking day, and ESPN just couldn't close it out fast enough. So that's them switching. Obviously, trying to get the old 8-second delay in, and we just had a little
Didn't
too
work
slow.
the way they wanted it to work.
Yep, that man was sitting back in his chair as opposed to sitting up.
That's tough. It's okay. It happens. Happens to the best of
They
them.
they put the red light on the wrong camera.
Yeah. Camera two.
Happens to the best of them. All right, curtain calls brought to
Other
you by...
mistake of the day is.
Oh, you got another one?
you got two.
We got three.
No, it's Pete Carmichael.
Oh, Pete Carmichael.
How many times? I mean, what year is he playing football in? 1996, where we're gonna run fades in the end zone on fourth down to somebody that's 5'9".
I love he's not 5'9".
I'm just saying for the principle of it.
Yeah. For the principle. Let me just make up something for the principle of the argument.
I mean, you have 4 downs inside the 10, 2 timeouts.
You ran a great play the play before. He had him touchdown, dropped the touchdown pass. Now you're going to say, okay, fourth down, incomplete pass. You have time. We're going to do that.
Try to get a penalty, I guess.
Instead of having us.
The torso.
You don't need a penalty. You're 5 yards away.
I'm
It's
just
like
saying.
you're 50 yards away trying to get a cheap penalty to get closer. Like,
And the 2-point play was great.
We're not going to get there.
Taysom Hill seems to be good at scoring. Mm-hmm. Run him 4 times. You have 2 timeouts.
Yeah. Anyway, current call is brought to you by our friends at Shirt Partners.
And
Me.
okay,
Might be curtains.
I'll start it off, boys. The word we'll start it off with the word comfortable, right? Like, there's 2 types of comfortable. Comfortable to where it's a problem, and comfortable to where the best part of you comes out. Sometimes, or some people may look at this like, oh, man, I don't know if I want my quarterback doing that. But if he's taking care of what he needs to take care of, and he's now just relaxing and waiting on his opportunity to get back on the field, boy, do I love a quarterback that's down in the fourth quarter that can go ahead and freestyle and get caught on camera and then go back out there and throw a game-winning touchdown, which is what Michael Penix did against Oregon last week, and there's video proof of it, and it's beautiful. I love it. So my curtain call is to that. If you could roll that, Lloyd, that'd be great. Camera's hot. They put the red light on the right one. This is right before the game-winning drive.
And then I think the guy that he's freestyling with was like, bro's literally freestyling. Like, he commented on the post, was like, he's literally freestyling about making a comeback right now.
I love that.
I do too, man.
That's
I
great.
think that's
That's
awesome,
the right
'cause here's
kind of
the deal.
comfortable.
Here's the deal. A lot of this stuff, not necessarily freestyling, but like guys who make these big plays in these big moments and big situations is because they're so relaxed and so comfortable and so calm, and they don't make it out to be something that is this
Bigger than what it is.
abnormal situation.
I'm prepared for this.
Right? And so he's like, hey, look, I'm just going to keep doing what I've been doing. I feel good about it. I know we're going to do it. And I'm just going to –
Wait my turn. Come over here, hit the beef.
That's
real
great.
quick.
That's a great curtain call. He's doing it.
Yeah.
And I don't know anything about Michael Penix aside from his like the 2 ACLs that got him, like that made him miss time and ultimately transfer. So to see like this is the first thing where you get like a little bit of his personality, very cool.
Very cool.
Because the old story of I think it was Joe Montana at the Super Bowl when he's about to leave a game-winning drive, and they comes to the 2-minute, and he's like, "Is that John Candy in the stands?" You're like, "Joe."
Or when he called, who called their wife from the sideline?
Joe Montana.
Joe Montana.
Yeah.
He's like, "I just wanted to see if this thing dialed out." And they're like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I can call you."
Oh, we up? All right.
Yeah.
Get my helmet.
It's like, "Hey, Joe." That man was cool.
Love that.
Under pressure. And Burrow has some of those same stories that come out wherever he was like, I forget what game it was, but it was in the playoffs, and he got in the huddle, like, "What's up, guys?" And I'm like, "Joe, no." We're like, everybody's all tense, like, "What's up, buddy?"
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You love
This guy's in total
Love
control.
to see it.
My
what's your
curtain call goes to the troops. LSU rolling out the red carpet, or the camouflage carpet, for Army coming into town, not only with the end zones, but now with the patches, which I think look great.
Look great. End zones look great. Patches
I think they
look
might
great.
keep that.
What?
I think they should keep that.
Why not?
Why not?
I think you should. My curtain call. What?
I was just gonna say so. That's my curtain call. To
My
America.
current call we talked about earlier is to our friend Jay Johnson. A little bit richer, a little bit more stability, very much earned. And I'm excited for him. Happy that he's going to be here in Baton Rouge for a long, long time. And hopefully.
Did you know?
Huh?
Did you know before?
I did not know. Hopefully he has a lot more championships on the horizon.
Shout out Wilson Alexander for breaking the story.
It's a good thing Jay likes loose-fitting pants, huh?
Get off.
Really put something in him now.
Got a lot of room.
Lots of room.
A lot of room. A whole lot of things.
Have you talked to him yet?
Not since. I'm talking to him next week.
I texted him yesterday.
Nice. Told him congratulations.
I did.
Did he respond to you?
He did.
That's great.
He said 1 out at a time.
What do you say?
1 out at a time.
Here we go.
Yep. Do your
That's
deal.
good. I'm happy that you have that ability.
I was too. Wow. I figured it wouldn't hurt his data plan.
No, I think he's got limited.
I'm not too sure he looks at the plan anymore.
No. I'd imagine, honestly, it's the LSU plan. So.
That too.
That's true.
You know. All right, that's all we got today. Predictions for the game before we go. Over/under is 31.5. I guess it's up to 32 now. What do you got on LSU game? We did betting, but this is kind of.
It's not the over/under.
I mean,
LSU was favored by 31.5.
The line is 32. The over/under is 59.5, 58.5, something
58.5.
58.5.
You go since you've been hot. Jetted.
Hey,
I think I was wrong last week, though.
Here's a question, though.
So was
Did
I.
y'all think, as the game was unfolding, the way it was unfolding last weekend, did y'all think, like, damn, Mikey's going to hit the score 41?
No.
I did. Because it was
yeah, because it's you.
It was 34-10, right? It was 34-10. They scored a touchdown. I'm like, oh, they're gonna, and then they went for 2 and they ruined it. But then it was 41-18. I was like, and then they scored that trash touchdown. So I was like,
I literally don't remember a single thing I say in here after I walk out.
41-10 is what I said, or 41-17 is what I said for the over, and it was 41-18, and then they ended up LSU scored the extra touchdown to make it, 48-18. Anyway, go ahead. I thought about it.
Yeah, clearly. I think this is going to be the rare Saints.
Just fly is pissing me
I
off.
know it's been over here for all show. Saints go over. I'm going to say LSU goes under. The flipperoni. That's my only logic. No,
almost
they're
got it.
hard. You know what the trick is when
I can do it. I just gotta sit. You gotta go from the outside in.
I'll take the under and not cover.
Under and not cover.
Under
That's
and not
kind of where
cover.
I am too. What you do for the fly is
Swing and a miss.
You let it land and you get it for the camera. You spin your finger and it gets it dizzy because it has so many eyeballs, and then you can literally just press on it.
This one's about to die anyway. It's not flying very fast. Or the fly lands and you go from the outside because it can't see.
Oh, no periffs.
And so you have to go this way, this way, this way, this way, and then as you get closer, it goes up and you clap and it goes right into your hand and it dies.
Have you ever snatched one? I've caught like 2 in my life.
Yeah, but like this one's snatchable.
Yeah, he is.
Because
he's erratic.
He's dying.
He's drunk.
He's not there. My prediction of the game is I do think LSU covers the 32.
Shocker.
Duh.
No, I just here's the deal. It's not that I think LSU is going to score a whole bunch of points, but I don't think Army's going to score.
Yeah, I think
that much.
I agree.
So I think LSU is going to cover, and I think it's going to be under.
Yeah.
So I think that
They might score one touchdown.
I think like a 39-7 game. Well, that's a push. 40-7 game covers, and it also gets the under. Like I do think that they can cover, and it's going to be all because the Army just doesn't score. Is my prediction.
Army is actually not considering the competition. I'm just going to go. They're 2-4. Syracuse 29-16. Boston College 27-24. Just got blanked by Troy 19-0. So not a lot of points in these games because they run out of time.
You remember when we talked about the Scantron and how you always had C, and sooner or later you're like, man, I don't know if C's right. Let me go the other way. I'm like, right, they keep putting up 40 and 50 each week. One of these weeks has got to be the week they just don't do it. That's why I'm like, under not cover. It's got to happen soon.
This week they only have to put up 34 and just not give up a point. You know what I mean? Like I can see a 34-0 game.
I could see 35-7.
You know what I mean? Like, well, that wouldn't cover.
I know, but that's what.
But like
they might get one.
So we'll see.
Let's be honest.
We'll see.
42-7.
We'll see. All right, that's all we got. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. Enjoy the beautiful weather. Great show today.
Do you realize that you do a full 2-hour show with no breaks?
We've been doing that a lot lately.
I know, I love it. Because I was cutting up the pod for Jordy's show, and I was like, oh, this is only like an hour and 30 minutes. We probably need to do more breaks, though. Maybe. But I was saying, we do a lot of content.
Yeah, and we give our love to our sponsors, all of our guys, all of our people that are along with us.
Does,
our friends at Range Rover.
They're on the screen.
Another friend of ours had a they have a nice Range Rover, and they turned it in and got the nice Defender. So there's a lot of options out there, a lot of new things. They're very good people. They love LSU. They have great tailgates. They had the one at Walk-Ons last week. They're gonna have another one at some point. You got some big games coming up. We'll be there. We'll be there. When we're there,
Live
we'll let
show?
y'all know. Y'all come hang out. Then I'll introduce you to all the people that maybe will sell you a car for maybe a little discount. Who knows?
Maybe let you drive it off the lot
Maybe try it. Yeah, maybe.
at walk-ons.
Maybe a little demo.
You know what? Let me sit in that thing over there. Let me see what that's like.
Enjoy the rest of your Friday. Enjoy the game.
Enjoy
It's gonna
the
be a nice
game.
It's
Enjoy
gonna
the
be
weather.
Great weather. Enjoy the weather. I think I was wondering if I was gonna want to go out to dinner tonight, like me and Allie. But I think the weather's so nice that I think I want to
Grill
do
on the
something
back
at the house,
porch.
or maybe eat outside. Maybe
Let-
pour a little glass of wine, chill.
Let Kobe stretch his legs.
Toby sleeps on the other couch. That's what he likes. It's good weather. Maybe put a little fire out there.
Little baseball game on.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that sounds like a
Sounds
nice day.
nice.
Sounds like a nice day. All right.
Do you sniff
Enjoy
the cork?
your
Sniff the cork after you open the bottle.
No, you want to feel if it's nice and moist. Moist. And that's good. There's signs of a good bottle. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. Enjoy the weekend. We love you. Please like and subscribe to our channel. If you can't watch us or you don't watch us on YouTube and you like to listen to us or anywhere you get your pods, we'll be back live in studio on Monday from 6 to 7:15 on Monday.
Did you make a difference?
Also, it's Moffitt
Method
Mondays
Mondays.
again. So tune in, let him break down some of this game, talk about what goes into a bye week, goes into the training aspect of the bye week, sleep, all these types of things, recovery.
Proper amount of 110s in a practice.
Proper amount of 110s. We'll see the Russell Shepard story, what happened.
Gives
But-
me heebie-jeebies.
Have that. You there for that?
Enjoy the weekend. We love you.
We love you.
Peace.